Welcome to the Ascent Life podcast. I'm R. Brandon Long. I am here with the mission to inspire 1 million people a day to live their best life, find purpose, and become the best version of themselves. That is living an Ascent Life. We are recording on YouTube, so you can find me there at Ascent Life now. And we want to start by giving you some wisdom from the pages. Read the Almanack of Naval, Ravikant this last few weeks. Took me about a week and a half. And these are some of my favorite quotes from Naval. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's kind of a Silicon hero, angel investor early on in Uber, and has some great quotes. Let's start here. The value of time, it's all you have. It's more important than your money. Also, when it comes to your goal in life is to find people, business, projects, or art that needs you the most. There is something out there just for you. What you don't want is to build checklists and decision frameworks built on what other people are doing. You're never going to be them. You're never going to be good at being somebody else. More succinctly, no one in the world is going to beat you at being you, which I love that. Another quote, you can get almost anything you want out of life as long as it's one thing and you want it far more than anything else. You're going to die one day, and none of this is going to matter. So enjoy yourself. Do something positive. Project some love. Make someone happy. Laugh a little bit. Appreciate the moment, and do your work. And then finally, one of my quotes that I highlighted here in this book is, whether in commerce, science, or politics, history remembers the artists. Yeah, I kind of love that one. So, good stuff. All right, so let's dive into our guest today. Friend of the family, Tricia Judge. Welcome to Ascent Life. Attorney, how long have you been practicing?
Oh, gosh. 30, let's see, 1986. So we can do the math. It's, 28
Yeah, so you're good at it.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I like to think that I certainly know my niche. Law encompasses so much, but in my little piece of the world, I'm one of a kind, which is really fun.
Which is?
Well, I am the executive director and general counsel for the trade association that represents companies that remanufacture or recycle toner cartridges, inkjet cartridges, electronic waste, any IT-related environmental refurbishing and remanufacturing.
So where do the issues come in that you help solve?
Well, boy, it really is a cross-section.
Yeah.
There's a lot of antitrust issues because the big companies like Hewlett-Packard and Canon want you to buy their new equipment and not remanufacture their old stuff. Mm-hmm. And patent issues all over the place. Mm-hmm. From, the Chinese crap that comes in on Amazon to right up to, patent issues with those big corporate giants. So we got a lot of patent issues. We got environmental issues. We've got contractual issues because of warranties, and we've got the antitrust issues, and then because these are small businesses, just about any small business law that crops up, I try to address that too. But it's really fun because these companies are run by real innovators. Yeah. And sometimes it's like herding cats. Yeah. Because, to get
their minds are busy.
Very.
Yeah.
And keeping up with them is tough.
Yeah.
But it's taken me all around the world. Yeah. It's taken me to the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah. And it has been just a whirlwind ride, and I love it. So, one of my board members recently said, Tricia, is there going to be life after toner for you? And
I kind of love that.
And I really I stopped dead in my tracks. Yeah. I can't imagine life after toner.
We were just talking about that. It's like, well, what do you do when you retire? And you're like, I don't know. I might just go down. Like, there is no life after toner.
No life after toner. And I loved one of your quotes. The one that you opened with is one of my favorite quote, and I'm not sure who to attribute it to. I certainly didn't come up with it, but it's time is the only currency we really have to spend.
Yeah.
And so I have devoted my life to helping these companies, and I'm all the better for it.
Yeah. So how did you get there? Because that is a very niche industry right there. And so you don't go to school, especially when you went to school. Yeah. I don't we'll say a little ways ago
in Connecticut.
Okay, yeah. And they're like, did they have like a class for that? Or
no little girl wakes up and dreams of being the queen of toner. I mean, that just is, not something.
Well, they should, or if you haven't, you're meeting her now.
Well, there you go. Actually, it just kind of fell on me. I was living here in Ogden and had my own little private practice, happy as a clam. And my husband came home one day and said that he wanted to go to work for this company down in Vegas, and we were going to move, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I was happy here.
Yeah.
But back in those days, before Indeed and other instant job searches, I looked at the Las Vegas Review Journal, and there was an ad for a journalist with a legal background to work at a magazine, and it was Recharger Magazine, which was a 300-page monthly periodical.
That's so big. Oh my God.
To serve this industry. I mean, the industry was at its peak. It was $3-4 billion industry.
Yeah, magazine industry.
Oh no, this is the toner and cartridge remanufacturing industry. Was that big.
Uh-huh.
Now the Chinese have eaten into our revenues quite a bit, but at the time it was the only game in town other than buying brand new cartridges, and so I went to work for beat out several hundred other applicants, went to work for Recharger Magazine, became their executive editor, and when we had this huge issue crop up in the late 90s, Lexmark was basically what we call an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, who was trying to kill our industry by using their patents. And so we formed the International Imaging Technology Council, and I became the first and only executive director that they've ever had. So, and that's really, I just walked into it one day. But when that magazine showed up on my desk at my office on 12th Street, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, this is an amazing industry.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just what these people are doing is so cool. I mean, they keep the equivalent of a couple of aircraft carriers worth of non-degradable plastic out of landfills every year.
Wow.
I mean, it's really an incredible industry, and so worthy of saving and so worthy of advocating for, that I dove in and drank the Kool-Aid, and I've been at it ever since.
How were you thinking about the environmental side of things before you were approached by this opportunity?
It had never dawned on me that you could recycle, because those cartridges back then, they could weigh. I mean, I think, I don't remember. I think it was the 9,000 HP's 9,000 that weighed almost 10 pounds, and it was big, and it was this industrial grade styrene, and to throw that in the trash just seemed criminal.
Right.
But I had no idea what to do with it other than to throw it in the trash until I found these people.
Yeah.
But you don't want to throw those babies in the trash.
Yeah.
They are worth money.
Yeah.
People will pay you for those. Or, there's some guys that collect from a high school and donate band uniforms. Or, I mean, there's so many clever ways they have of collecting these empties and then reusing them. And it's just... And making a good living at it, and they charge less than the original cartridges, the new cartridges. So it's good for the economy, it's good for the environment, it's good for consumer choice. It's apple pie and the American flag. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great.
I have always been in love with magazines, and this is it's a niche sort of type of magazine,
Yes.
for sure. But magazines in general, I've always loved. I worked as a bagger at a grocery store. It was my first job, and what you do on break, and this is before the internet, so you didn't grab your phone and jump on your phone. You went to the magazine rack and you found topics that you're interested in, and you looked at it.
Yep.
I liked the DuPont Registry magazine because it had all the fancy cars for sale, Porsches and motorcycles and yachts and all that. I would go through that, go through sports magazines and stuff, and I just fell in love with being able to open a magazine and dream and like flip the papers, and I thought it was really cool. So that's fun. I'm glad you're involved on that side, and I want to know, what does the industry look like now in 2025? Because that is something that, I mean, the technology has changed greatly.
The technology has changed, some of it for the good, some of it not good. I mean, for example, we've been trained when, it says, do you want to update or upgrade your firmware, to just do it. It's supposed to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's not always a good thing, because sometimes the OEMs use that as a way to lock out the use of competing supplies. So, I mean, we flourished, especially when we were only competing against the OEMs. But once the Chinese started cranking out these cartridges that are made of inferior grade plastic, sometimes they have measurable flame retardants in them, which particularly deca-BDE, which is a known carcinogen. And you're putting that in a printer that's got a laser in it that heats it up to 180 degrees, and that's going to turn some of that into the air you breathe.
Ew.
So I just, you think you're buying a really great deal when you see these knockoff clone cartridges, but you're hurting the environment and maybe even your health.
Yeah.
Because for two reasons. One, the example I gave, but also because we can't reuse those. They're not. We don't want to reuse them. First of all, we don't know if the patent, if there are patent violations in them. Second of all, we don't know if there's
They don't provide any of that information.
No.
Okay.
No.
So unless you tear it apart and see what's in it,
and have it analyzed by a lab, which costs a lot of money, you don't know what you're getting. And they do an incredible job of coming painfully close to violating trademarks and trade dress, because they look so much, particularly Hewlett-Packard clone products. They look just like Hewlett-Packard's packaging.
Yeah.
So I just encourage your listeners to, if they are so driven to start or make sure that they're getting a good quality cartridge, to contact me. Contact the International Imaging Technology Council, and we'll hook you up.
Are they? Is it, if you go direct to the company, you always get the proper cartridge, or is it when you try to get a deal? Is that when you end up?
It's when when you hop on and I don't mean to pick on Amazon, but they are. But we actually counted 80 plus companies that are sellers of these clones that are, we believe are they claim to be remanufactured, but they're not. They're brand new, newly molded junk, and it's so easy to find them because they come up first because they're the lowest price.
Yeah, Amazon, man. I mean, it's wonderful and
it's a gift and a curse.
And a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
So I guess one of my questions would be, what are like the trade law? Is there anything the United States does to prevent this, or it's just like there's nothing they can, no one can really do about that? Here's
a blatant example of, our government trying but not quite succeeding. One of the companies, a company called Nine Star, and they're, I think, if not the largest, one of the largest I'm pretty sure they are the largest producer of these clone cartridges. I think they do some remanufacturing, but they actually they were found guilty of using Uyghur slave labor in the manufacturing of their products.
Yeah.
So they're on the Uyghur Forced Labor Protection Act list, which means they technically can't import products into the United States. They are. They're coming in, and they're not.
So there's no bite to the act.
Well, no, not that we've seen. Not enough bite. I mean, at first it worked, but their products are still coming in, and when you're dealing with Chinese companies today, they're one name, and tomorrow they're somebody else if they're found guilty of doing something, and so you're playing whack-a-mole.
Sure.
And you can't ever just nail down one and get them to hold them accountable.
Right.
Accountability is just not something we can do. And I've tried working with Amazon to get them to clean up the platform, but they're protected under federal law because they just provide the platform. They're not responsible for the products. And they're in business to make money, and
sure.
Heaven knows they're doing that.
Sure, they make a few dollars.
Yeah,
I think
they do too. Yeah.
So your portfolio of clients, does it maintain like the same group mostly, or do you bring in a whole bunch of new people every month and quarter or whatever?
Every now and then, I'll get somebody new that rolls in with a particularly interesting problem. That actually happened recently, and they're dealing with some specific bid language, some states that are buying cartridges that at a price that's not feasible. They can't truly be remanufactured cartridges at that price point.
Yeah.
It's just not possible because the empties, or what we call the cores, cost more than what they're selling them for.
Yeah.
So we try to shed light on the fact that there's a difference between price and value, a big difference. And one of my home states, Massachusetts, they do it right. They buy based on value, and they have a very strong sustainable purchasing program. I helped them write the book on how to buy a quality remanufactured cartridge.
Love it.
We also have our own logo designation. It's STMC, which stands for Standardized Test Methods Committee. If you see the STMC logo on there, it's usually a good sign, but of course, like everything
faking
else,
that too,
they
yeah.
can fake it. Yep.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
It's a constant game of chess, and we're not winning right now.
Really?
But we're hanging in there.
Yeah.
We're a fraction of the size we used to be.
Yeah.
But it's still there's still enough bite left in this old dog that I think I can.
Who's your toner people? Because that's a fascinating subject when you know a lot about it. But then who do you go complain to and talk to and share the love with after hours and like, oh man, this happened today?
Well, that's the problem. I don't get invited to a lot of cocktail parties. Oh my God, here comes the toner lady again. Yeah. No, it's. The funny thing is, we just had the Remanufacturing World Conference was in Detroit 2 weeks ago, and my husband's quite ill, so I was really having a hard time.
Yeah.
My wonderful daughter-in-law, Jen, came down and stayed with my husband so that I could go to be with my people. Yeah. Talk to the tire retreaders, talk to the automotive remanufacturing group is huge. I mean, that they have a very large representation, and there's a lot of remanufacturing going on. I mean, even casino games get refurbished and remanufactured, and so there are all kinds of interesting little niche areas that remanufacturing is occurring in. I just talked to somebody I think in somewhere in Park City, you've got a medical laser med spa type devices that are also being remanufactured. I mean, who knew?
Yeah.
But if we're keeping these things out of landfills, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a very good thing.
One of my anxieties in life is going to the landfill because I never know what I'm doing right and doing wrong. I don't know if I'm supposed to put this thing here or that thing there. And I need them to tell. I need it to be a little clearer.
It is intimidating.
In the direction. Yeah.
It's intimidating. We had to downsize and move into smaller spaces, and I had this library of all of our Recharger magazines and Imaging Spectrum magazines that were, we had just a ton, but it's paper. You want it recycled.
Yeah.
And I went to the Las Vegas recycling center. I was intimidated.
Yeah.
I'm not easily intimidated.
Right.
But that I was, and here we have these, a weight of paper, and I didn't know where to put it. It's very daunting.
Yeah. I'm glad you found something in life that you love to do and will take to your grave, probably doing the work. How did you find that purpose? How would you define your purpose in life?
You hear the term people pleaser, and it's supposed to be a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think, when you are pleasing people, when you're helping people, something good happens inside of you.
Yeah.
And, in today's, it's all about me, what's in it for me kind of society. Doing something that has a purpose beyond yourself is just so rewarding.
Yeah.
And I never dreamed about being this kind of saber rattling advocate when I was for toner when I was a child. But if toner is the avenue that gets me that purpose, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You never know when I see a member who's done really good work over the years and has really stuck to the principles of best practices in toner cartridge and ink cartridge remanufacturing. When I see them get an award for, several $1 million from a state like New York because of a law that we all worked to pass back in the 90s that mandates that the state of New York buy remanufactured, man, that's a good day for me.
Yeah.
That's a really good day for me.
Yeah.
And I think about the jobs, the American jobs that helps make. And I think about, what isn't going into those printers that could harm the health of the administrative staff that are stuck in the same room with that printer. That's just all very rewarding.
Yeah.
And exposing that kind of bad behavior is rewarding.
Yeah.
So I think that I found this job. It found me. I mean, really.
Right.
This job found me when I was, in my mid to late 30s, and I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah. Are you training a successor?
I have a successor. Yeah. She works with me, and she's not a lawyer, so we're trying to get that playing
because you know a
field.
lot. Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to get that part of it settled so that we don't have to have a lawyer in this particular role. But it's I'll hand over the gavel. I actually have a gavel that my father had.
Love that.
And so I'll be handing over the gavel at some point. Yeah. But for right now, I'm still in the hunt.
Yeah, this is good. How has being in the industry that you are in and seeing the things that you've seen shape the way that you see people and your world?
I think one of the wonderful things that this job has afforded me is the ability to meet with buyers that, you think of a buyer sitting in Boston or Albany, or, okay, I got to buy 1,000 toner cartridges. Whoop-de-doo, rubber stamp. Joe's cartridges in Albany is good enough.
Yeah.
They really care.
Yeah.
They really want to put together a sustainable. They want their state to be a shining example. We got a couple of states that are the opposite, and I won't name names, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly living in Nevada. We have Yucca Mountain. We want your glowing objects. It's not good.
Yeah.
But some of these states and the purchasing agents that I'm working with are hungry to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. I work with a lady, Sandra Cannon, at the Department of Energy, who is really, she gets angry when she thinks that they're being duped.
Yeah.
Or that, somebody's trying to, sell her a bill of goods.
Yeah. Cannon, from the Cannon company?
It's spelled differently, but
Okay.
she's one tough lady, and I really respect her, and I really like the work she's doing at the Department of Energy, and kudos to the Department of Energy for hanging on to her for all these years.
Right. Those positions tend to turn over. So
there's the politics involved, and we had a wonderful. We had a federal environmental executive for a long time. Her name was Fran McPoland, and she too was wonderful. But then, in comes a new regime, and all of a sudden the environment isn't, the highest precedent, or it's not as prevalent of an issue.
Yeah.
And then, so you end up with this, with this laissez-faire attitude of, we don't care if we're poisoning our people. Well, this is the world we're leaving our children and grandchildren. Don't you think you might want to care a little bit?
Like a little.
A little, yeah.
I think that would be it reminds me of, we had a podcast last night where we recorded and we were talking about the Great Salt Lake here in Utah, and how if it dries up, it affects everyone. It affects the state tourism. It affects our health. It's like, why are we not all on the same page? We should all be on the same page on some of these things that just affect our health and the environment and where we live. But yeah, you never know. And
especially when it doesn't cost us anything.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
I get it. We don't want to be pumping millions and millions of dollars into, I don't know. I can't think of a project off the top of my head, but here you got a group of companies that just want to be left alone to do what they do.
Yeah.
They want to, collect the empties, remanufacture them, put them back out on the, out in the marketplace to compete. They don't want any special treatment. They don't want, don't charge you, they pay you for the empties. They don't charge you for them, So here you've got this perfect little, closed loop system. Let it be.
Right.
But buy their stuff.
Right.
Buy what they are selling, because you're voting with your dollars.
Right.
And if you vote for, a cleaner environment and it's not costing you a surcharge, why wouldn't you do it?
Or do you have a list, like on a website or something, of the ones that are the correct places to buy from?
Well, see, that's the problem, because sometimes the remanufacturers have dealers.
Got you.
But I'm dead serious when I say the website is www.i-itc.org. And you can it's got contact me all over it.
Okay.
So it's, I for International Imaging Technology Council.org, i-itc.org. And I will be more than happy, to hook people up with companies that I know are
reputable,
legitimate and reputable.
Well,
there actually is a toner queen out there, and she's
not you.
I didn't grab the mantle quick enough. I was toner goddess.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good.
I'll take that. I'll take that one.
Yeah,
but you can buy from the toner queen. I know she's selling good remanufactured product. But
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're successful on the work side of things. How much does that play into your overall life? How do you define success as a person?
For a long time, I let the work dictate too much of my life, because if you get immersed, and Brandon, I know you can do this too.
Yeah.
When you get immersed in something that you love, the line between work and home kind of
It goes away sometimes. Yeah.
And then on top of it, there was this one company, this one member in New York that was run by a gentleman. He made coatings that you used on the drums and the blades, and so he was a vendor to the industry, and he and I worked New York over together really well, and then fell in love. And that happens too. And so I married him.
Yep.
And we were together doing the fight. And so the talk around our house was Toner 24/7, because we were totally into it. And when he passed away in 2011, it took a lot of the wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
Because we had done it side by side for so long. But now I just appreciate, I think all of those quotes that you read at the beginning are so apropos. Enjoy the moment. I'm sitting here in this really cool trailer talking with you about what I do. I get to live in Las Vegas, and I have basically a home everywhere I go, because there are toner cartridge remanufacturers all over the world.
Awesome.
So, when I go someplace, I get the private tour with somebody who lives there.
Yeah.
So I've had this amazing invitation to the world through the back door of my work. And it's been absolutely delightful. So, and I always take a couple of days whenever I travel. I can't right now because my husband is ill, but I take a couple of days and go explore wherever it is that I'm at for work, because, like Detroit, I mean, I had this mental image of what Detroit looked like, because it's been a declining city for so long, and burned out neighborhoods, and because the fires up back there. And I drove around Troy, Michigan, and I was amazed at these gorgeous neighborhoods. I mean, talk about your McMansions. They put LA to shame.
Wow.
And to me, traveling is what kind of opens up your eyes and helps you see the world and helps you balance life out.
Oh, 100%. And God, do we need to get out more and just touch grass and go visit other. I mean, travel's huge. Travel's a huge part of what I would like to do. I mean, every time you can go anywhere. You can go to the beach, you can go to the woods, you can just go to a different town, like you said, and just explore. You learn something, and you're separated from your typical day in, day out life, and it gives you a minute to think and have a larger perspective on the world. It's just good for you all around.
And it makes you vulnerable because you do not know where you are. I mean, just wandering around your building here this morning, because I couldn't find Studio One. I mean, but here I lived in this town for a decade, and I'm trying to piece together what this building used to be, and you have to ask people for help and directions, and I'm sorry about your neighbors, by the way, and and that's a good thing, because you have to, it causes you to get out of your comfort zone and get to know the area that you're in and the space that you're in, and then you have to fully occupy that space. Your head can't be off in the clouds, because you got to watch where the crack in the sidewalk might be.
Yep. All right, well, let's leave with this. How do you want to be remembered?
I think I'd like to be remembered as being thoughtful, kind. I for a long time it was, well, she's a fighter. She's such a fighter. But as I've gotten older, I realize that, it's in the doing for others. It's in the exposing yourself to the fight and being the fighter for somebody who can't. That's the joy.
Yeah. And
so I hope that I'll be remembered as thoughtful, and I'll probably come up with a better adjective in the car on the way home. Isn't that always
should have said this?
I should, exactly. But I hope I hope I am exactly. I'm remembered as the person my golden retriever thinks I am.
Oh, amen to that. But they're amazing dogs, by the way.
Yep.
Amazing dogs. Tricia Judge, the toner goddess.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take it.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on Ascent Life. I appreciate you coming up. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Ascent Life podcast. If you did make it this far in the program, which I know you did, please subscribe to the YouTube. You can see our wonderful, beautiful faces. That's at Ascent Life now. And for your daily dose of visual inspiration, you can follow me on Instagram at Ascent Life. And you can subscribe to my weekly Ascent Life newsletter, where I share what I learn each week on how to live your best life. The link will be in the show notes below. So thanks for joining me on this journey as we push towards self-actualization through resilience, adaptability, creating a positive impact on the world, and using our own unique ability to fulfill our purpose and our life's task to become the best version of ourselves. We'll continue our path together on the next Ascent Life. Cheers and Godspeed.